My name's Matt Silva, and you are watching Arts Alive Delaware. Delaware Theatre Company's role in the Delaware arts community is one of vital importance and has been for 45 years. This is our 45th season. And so for 45 years, we've been the only regional professional theater in the state of Delaware. And on top of that, we have not just put on top-notch artistic quality shows for 45 years. In addition to that, we've developed a whole host of education and community outreach programs that have been impacting the community both inside of our building and outside of our building for 35 years at this point. Delaware Theatre Company serves a whole host of different folks. For starters, the main thing we do is that we have 5 shows per season. And so as part of those 5 shows, we have just over 2,000 subscribers. And so those folks, many of them have been with us since our first show back in the Firehouse in 1978. And they're still with us today. And as of today, we have 3 new subscribers. So we serve folks that are looking to come and see our shows. And in addition to that, we have student matinees, which are a really cool thing. We're able to bring in people to oftentimes experience a theatrical experience for their very first time, which is really cool. And then we also go into the schools and have different programs where we're training youth, exposing them to different tools to communicate and express themselves. The arts are vital in doing that, and Delaware Theatre Company plays a big role in that in the community. We also go into senior centers to give voice to people that are a little bit older and don't have the opportunity often to do that. So we do playwriting courses there, and so they're able to write their plays for 12 weeks and then actually put on a little reading of them so that their words exist in the world, and we provide professional directors and actors for that. And then we also run a Summer on Stage program, which serves up to 130 students every summer. And for 33 years, we've had Totally Awesome Players, which is a program that serves both cognitively and physically disabled folks. And it's a 12-week program where they come together to create a show that then they perform on our stage. And that's a really special experience as well. And there's some other flagship programs as well. So that's mostly who we serve. Delaware Theatre Company's upcoming 24-25 season is our 45th anniversary season. And it's so super exciting to have new seats, new carpet, new paint in order to sort of launch into the next 45 years here in Delaware. And the season starts off with Kinky Boots, which is a big splashy musical that celebrates what it is to be unique and to live out loud and to really embrace who we are unapologetically. And then we move on stage actually for the second show. It's a one-person show called Every Brilliant Thing, a really beautiful, heartfelt story about a gentleman whose mother attempted to take her life several times. So he would get little yellow sticky notes, and what he would do is write reasons why it's worth being alive, brilliant things. And over the course of his life, through his mother and then his own struggles as an adult, he amassed over 960,000 of these brilliant things. And so the show is sort of an interactive experience with the audience to talk about what it's like to be alive and why it's worth being alive. And our third show is called Home for the Holidays in the 302, our first annual holiday show. So this is our attempt at creating sort of an annual Wilmington experience that embraces the local art scene and using as many local artists to really celebrate what it's like to feel at home, especially here in Wilmington. Everybody has that sort of like smell or taste or vision or feeling of what it's like around the holidays. And so this show will sort of celebrate what that's like locally with local artists. And hopefully it will grow into something that can continue annually. And then our fourth show of the season is Tuesdays with Morrie. People are probably familiar with that very famous book. It's been translated into 55 different languages or so through the years. Really beautiful story about what it's like and the relationships we value in life. And finally, we have a world premiere musical called Stompin' at the Savoy. The book writer is actually a local person. Phaedra Michelle Scott grew up here in Wilmington and actually participated in some programs at DTC when she was younger. And that is a story about sort of the original Lindy Hoppers, the jazz, big band jazz dancers, and also sort of playing with the rhythms of jazz and also jump rope and double dutch and sort of how the rhythms of the street match the rhythms of the dance halls. So it's a really thrilling and exciting season that we're thrilled about. Collaboration for Delaware Theatre Company is the key to success. And frankly, I think it's the key to success for all arts organizations at the moment. it's more important than ever. And so our first show of the year actually is a partnership with another local theater company, New Light Theater. New Light Theater's been around for the past 5 or 6 years, and they do phenomenal work. Their talent that they get is absolutely unbelievable. Between their incredible talent and storytelling and our facilities and ability to have a really big physical production that looks great, sounds great, has lots of glitz and glamour, it allows us to bring in their audience and exist with our audience. And also it gives them a chance to elevate what they're doing and to gain more recognition and notoriety. And I think that that's a really important role for Delaware Theater Company moving forward now and in the future. And that furthers with the holiday experience. So we'll be working with several arts organizations here locally to make that show and create it together. And there's just no way that we can exist without resource sharing and without amplifying the stories and missions of other arts organizations here in Delaware. In terms of engaging diverse audiences for Delaware Theater Company, we've consistency and building trust is key. And that's something that, as part of the Delaware Division of the Arts Incubator for Equity and Innovation, is something that we really learned and have dove into. We've been able to engage the past couple years a playwright, Leon Gray. Leon writes stories about African-American history that are sort of barely known, and he really researches these and then writes fictional characters around these actual historical events. So 2 seasons ago, we did Black Angels over Tuskegee. Last year, we did Kings of Harlem. Next year, we're going to be doing a show with him called The Girls of Summer. When Leon and his team come in, they really ensconce themselves into the community. They're going to local churches and doing performances. They're going to schools and they're giving little workshops. We went to the Boys and Girls Club. Kings of Harlem takes place on an actual basketball court. So we went to the Boys and Girls Club here and did a performance for 300 students on a real basketball court. They invited basketball teams to see the show. We had gentlemen from local high schools that have never seen a show before and are athletes, and they came and saw the show. And after the show, they were engaging with Leon and his team, asking, can we do the show? Can we perform the show in our school? And that moment, when you talk about connecting with diverse audiences and building diverse audiences and building trust, that moment and that intersection between an athlete and the interest in the arts, moments like that are what we're searching for. And connections like working with Leon and his team continuing to understand this landscape here in Wilmington are really important. And the commitment to year after year performing those and working with those teams is really important. So subscribing to the theater company allows us early on to invest that money into the work that goes on stage, because the subscription revenue comes in early on before the season starts. And so at that point, we're able to take a look and say, oh, look at all these subscribers and the revenue from that. That allows us to spend a little more money on this lighting thing that could be great. This actor who's from, who really is tough to get and we could employ. It's the buy-in of investing in your local arts organization. And so our subscriptions, thankfully, even though they're down almost everywhere regionally across the United States of America, ours are up and we're back over where we were during the pandemic, before the pandemic. And we really attribute that to never actually shutting down. Live experiences are really important. And we moved outside instead of going to virtual or anything like that. So our subscribers and our patrons and the community could come see us outside for a performance. And so we've been able to continue to connect to folks and to storytell with folks and to entertain with folks. And I think that communication, that experience together is something that is absolutely critical, and we continue to value that. Supporting the arts in Delaware is one of the most important things for a creative and vibrant community. And I've been here now for 6 years, and I've been now a Wilmingtonian for 2 years, nearly. And the more that I'm here, the more I recognize that without the arts community, especially in a time when most folks are struggling, this community and the landscape of Wilmington looks entirely different. And people won't know that until it happens. And we don't want to see that happen. And so supporting not just Delaware Theater Company, but having a curiosity in the arts, attending things, being interested, learning about the arts in the community, is just really important. And having a philanthropic spirit around it. Listen, some people can only give $20. Some people can only give $5. Some people can only show up at an event that might be free. But even that patronage, that interest, that curiosity fuels the artistic community here in Wilmington, all throughout the state, upstate, downstate, everywhere. And so I would implore and beg folks to get involved. The arts have impacted my life in tremendous and gratifying and challenging ways. It's the only way I've ever made a living. I've never had any job that isn't arts related. And, you know, I think that from an early age, I can remember my father took me to see the Fantastics at the Sullivan Street Playhouse in New York. It's 99 seats. And it was the first show I had seen that like my sister wasn't in. At the beginning of the show, there's this big glissando on a harp. And as every string was plucked on that harp, every hair in my body sort of stood at attention. And I remember that feeling, and I chase that feeling in all of the work that I do artistically. And I want people to feel that same moment and to be sort of infected with it and infused with what the arts can do for one's life and living a fuller, more complete, more joyous life. And I think that we really need to be invested in having folks at an early age have that experience, or at least have access to it. And so I wouldn't be the person I am if the arts weren't such a big part of my life.